Metal Jesus here, and today I thought I might do something a little bit different, and that is kind of dig into the odds and ends of my video game collection. I did one of these videos a couple months ago and got a really positive feedback from it, and several people have asked me, hey, when are you going to do another one? And I thought, yeah, it might be a good time to do that. Now, this isn't necessarily rare or valuable stuff. This is just stuff that I think is kind of unusual, some of the stuff you don't typically see on YouTube. But there is an exception, though, and I'm going to wait till the very end to show you. I was digging around in my storage room today, and I knew it was in there, but I didn't know if well, that's not true. I didn't know if it was actually still in there because I got it years ago. But anyways, I'm going to save it to the very end. It's pretty rare. I looked around on eBay and also Google to see if I could find something about it, so, you know, even to see if it's valuable, and I found nothing. So that's pretty cool. I will give you a hint, though. It's for the game Ico. So if you're a fan of that game, you'll want to stick around to the very end. Let's take a look. Here I'm going to show you some of my older vintage PC games. And the first one here is the Advanced Dungeons & Dragons Curse of the Azure Bonds. This is by a company called SSI. It was released in 1989. All the way back when I was graduating from high school. Got some playing cards here. I'm not sure why I threw them in here, but whatever. Have the manual. Very simple. Product guides, things like that. Here's the old school copy protection, remember that? But what I love about this is that I've got my old maps in here. This is back in the days whenever you didn't have an auto map and you needed to go old school and basically make your own. It's kind of fun to look at this sort of stuff back when I was in high school and college. And floppy disks. Here's another game from 1989. It's called Mech Warrior by Activision, and this is actually made by Dynamics, which was a company that Sierra ended up buying and made a bunch of great games like, what'd they make? They made Red Baron, they made Earth Siege and Star Siege, a ton of sort of great kind of simulation sort of games. But Mech Warrior was one of my favorites. If you are into that sort of classic mech thing, this game is still pretty fun. Of course, the original floppies, and underneath here we got all the product information, including, what is this? Is this actual, oh, that's cool. I should actually hang that on my wall. Now, you've probably heard me profess my love of Ultima, and especially the old school ones, and this is a great collection. This has, in my opinion, some of the favorites. And it's a second trilogy. What's really cool about this is that it comes with all of the cloth maps for each game. And as you can see, they're in perfect condition. You know, I kind of miss these old maps that they would throw in these RPGs. It really added something to it. Here's a little trinket that they included in the game. Kind of cool. Bunch of manuals. And a clue book, which was nice, because sometimes you just get stuck, and this was before the internet. Now, some of you may be familiar with a game called Wing Commander. Well, its spin-off is a series called Privateer. This is the second one, called Privateer 2, the Darkening. It's the deluxe edition. This is a pretty cool box because it comes with the actual discs, of course, but then it comes with the original Privateer as well. So you have that. Comes with a really big guide. Here's a pretty dorky patch, to be honest. I don't know why anyone would actually put that on their clothes, but it's there. Install guide. Here's the manual. And a big old map. So you can't get lost. Now here's a classic racing game called Stunts. I used to love this back in the day. Of course, floppy again. Copyright 1990. If you haven't played Stunts before, you should definitely check it out. I mean, it's probably dated today, but it was a blast back in 1990. Next up, I have some pretty cool figures based on games, and I thought I might show you. The first one is one of my all-time favorite games, which is Ssx Tricky, and it's Elise. And this is pretty cool. Again, it's not really worth a lot, but man, I love the game and it's kind of cool. She was definitely one of my favorite characters to play. It's cool to have this figure. Another figure I found is Earthworm Jim. Again, another great game, another classic. They need to bring this back, don't they? Remake it, but do it right. Now, as many of you know, I used to work at a video game company called Sierra Online over in Bellevue, Washington, and picked these up in the corporate break room, I'm sure. Sierra cups, and these have the logo and etching on them. These are actually really nice. Very cool sort of like, you know, piece of Sierra history. Here's another one. This was for a game called Phantasmagoria, a puzzle of flesh. Pretty groundbreaking kind of full motion video game. Not a great game, but it definitely tried to do the whole Hollywood thing and have live actors and stuff like that. So here's a cup based on that game. Next up, I have an unusual joystick. Now there's an awful lot of aftermarket third-party joysticks for consoles. So this one's not necessarily rare, but I just kept it because it's kind of unusual. And that is a Nyko, it's called an iType 2. Essentially this was sent to me as a review unit from them. This was back whenever the PlayStation 2 first got the Ethernet adapter. If many of you know, is that when the PS2 first came out, it didn't have the ability to automatically connect to the internet. You had to wait for Sony to release the add-on for it. And that was a pretty big deal, and one of the first games to support that was SOCOM. And I forget if it was the first or second SOCOM, but anyways, this company knew that was coming, and so they wanted to release a full keyboard built into a PlayStation joystick. And so they sent me this for review. This is actually a really nice joystick. It's really huge, which is good for me because I'm a big guy. You know, it didn't really take off though. I mean, most people probably use headsets, but this is kind of a fun little joystick in my collection. Next up, I want to show you some unopened, original Commodore 64 games. Now, I did a trade with, I guess it's EA. Back when I was working at Sierra, I just basically contacted their tech support and said, hey, I'm a huge Commodore 64 fan. Do you have any games laying around? And sure enough, they had some down in their basement, and they sent me these. And so these are pretty cool. These are completely unopened. And here is Julius Erving, one-on-one. Julius Erving and Larry Bird there. Pretty cool. Next up is Skybox. This was a classic Commodore 64 game back in the day. Another game here, Axis Assassin. Looks kind of like Gyrus, perhaps. Murder Party. This game's probably awesome. Financial Cookbook. Not really. The Last Gladiator. No idea what this is. Actually, it looks really lame. World Tour Golf. This feels like a multi-disc. Again, unopened. And finally, Touchdown Football. I want to show you my last little trinket here. Now, a little bit of history though is I used to run a video game website, and I had excellent press contacts at video game companies, and Sony's was awesome. They would send me every game, every console. For Christmas, they'd send me wine and gifts and stuff like that. It was very cool. I really appreciated it. And they were launching this kind of unknown game called Ico, and they sent me the game, and they also sent me this, which is the cage that the girl is trapped in. And they made this custom for the game, and they sent it to me in this box, and I've had it all these years. As a matter of fact, it was hanging up in my room for quite a while. And that's the original candle that came with it. I don't think it's exactly modeled after the game, but the door opens and parts of it are very similar, like right here. And I've never seen this before. And I know the game is really popular and people love it. And I don't know, I just thought that you guys might like to see it. Alright, so that's my odds and end video, and I hope you enjoyed that. It was really fun digging through my boxes and pulling some of the stuff out. Haven't seen it in years, obviously. But if you like what you see, or you want to ask me some more questions about it, please let me know, and I may actually do more of these in the future. I want to thank you for watching my channel. Thanks for subscribing. Take care.